That is it. We are live now. So this is the first time I've ever done a YouTube live. So we'll see how we go. I'm sure it's all set up correctly. Welcome anybody that's watching and anybody watching on catch up. I'm joined all the way from New Zealand. I love this. Great. All the way from New Zealand, Nat, by my beautiful client, Nat, who's just finished the program. I think what is it probably about 16 weeks ago that you started, probably about that, isn't it? And I thought we'd just do something a bit different this time around, Q&A with our lovely what do I call them, followers or readers of my newsletter, whatever. We've got a ton of questions to get through, but before we do that, Nat, I think it would be quite good. Can you just give like a quick kind of, this is where I was, this is where I am, and then we'll just run through all the questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Emily, for this opportunity. 16 weeks ago, I was really dragging my feet around. I was forcing myself to put one foot in front of the other. I was just really existing in my life, and it was pretty hard. I mean, I'm pretty driven, so I got through everything that I needed to do, and I met everybody's expectations. But it was really, really draining. So I was pretty exhausted all of the time. Fast forward, I'm a new me. What can I say? I'm full of energy. I'm excited. I'm curious about life again. I'm doing the live stream. It's my whole world has actually changed. And so I'm really I'm super grateful for the program. That's for sure. Yep. So it's completely different.
Oh, fabulous. I think we'll unpick some of that as we go with some of these questions. So I'm just going to read them out. And the first one is from Vicky. It says, why did you decide to sign up to this program over other ones out there? And I guess that is a real question for somebody in New Zealand with the
Yep.
time difference. I mean, you're first thing in the morning right now, we're kind of in the evening. That is a really great question, actually. Why on earth would somebody from New Zealand sign up to something in the UK?
Yeah, so I wasn't looking for a program out of the UK. What happened for me was I had been going through, I was in a weight loss program, going to weekly workshops, and there was something missing. I was going with a friend, and we kept on starting to have these conversations around, this is just the same. Nothing's changing for us. It's just about controlling what we eat. And when we step away from the program, it doesn't work. And so it was just, I guess I've been putting out to the universe that, why isn't this working? What is going to be my future with this? And then I came across Emily's program through one of my LinkedIn feeds. And so I watched the videos, and it felt right. Yeah, the time difference wasn't going to worry me because I don't mind getting up early in the morning. But I had never come across anything else in terms of all of my reading, all of everything else that seemed to actually want to get to the root of the behavior of what I was doing and actually be a bit of a circuit breaker for me. So that's actually why I actually continued kind of progressing with actually signing up with the program, because it was something totally different, something that I've never ever seen before.
And yeah, I get this a lot with clients actually. There isn't anything else out there that's so deep actually and covers so much. Everything that's out there, the majority of things that are out there, is real surface level stuff, isn't it? And it's just like another diet. We all know what to eat and what not to eat. It goes much, much deeper than that.
Yeah, you're quite right. And I actually say this to my mum all the time. Like we have all the information. We know what to eat, what we shouldn't be eating. We know how much we should exercise, all the water, all of those sorts of things. But there was something missing in terms of actually how do you just make that a natural part of who you are, rather than actually almost keeping a checklist of how I've gone today.
And it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
Good. So I hope that's answered Vicky's question. Another one, next one from Sue. This is a big thing for people, actually. I've failed so many times before. Why is this different? And I think we've sort of covered it a little bit, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what is different is that the program has actually changed my relationship, A, with myself, and B, with food. Um, and so that's why it's different. So, as I said, the program kind of gets to the root causes. And what I found is that the program has helped me to heal from within rather than to change my relationship food by denying and controlling it from the outside. So, um, yeah, that's quite important for me because it's that intrinsic motivation, and it's just the ability to have a totally different conversation with yourself, um, which is why it's so totally different.
Great, thank you. A great one question from Andrea. How quickly did you see results?
Um,
Everybody wants results yesterday.
you know, um, and I think actually, Emily, you may have seen the results first, in terms of how I was showing up on the group calls, and
Absolutely.
in our one-on-ones. Um, for me, and obviously I know that everybody's kind of journey is different, but for me, the results were almost quite immediate, because I was changing my relationship with my food, and I was thinking and trying to understand more around why I was eating and what I was eating. And so for me, that's an immediate change. Um, yes, I did see some kilos. I'm in New Zealand, different language, start to drop off. I did start to see, um, you know, quite quickly, I did start to actually see my dress sizes coming down, which was awesome. Um, and that was good motivation, but that wasn't really the thing for me. The thing that I was actually getting a buzz out of was just changing that relationship with food and the relationship with myself and just getting the energy back. So, yeah, it's been awesome.
I mean, from my perspective, within a really short space of time, maybe even 1 or 2 weeks, you looked so different. Like this weight of the world had come off your shoulders and you were just glowing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then you start dressing differently as
Yeah.
well, and like not hiding behind those baggy t-shirts. It was just week on week, I just watched you bloom actually, which was fabulous to see.
Yeah,
So
and my friends, would comment around the fact that obviously they saw the change of clothing that I was wearing, but they said that I was smiling more, I was laughing more, and so it was there's real tangible evidence of the shifts that I was making as I went through the program.
great. So will I be the only person this won't work for? And will it be just another thing that I add to my list of failures from Sophia?
Um, Obviously, everybody's motivations for signing up for the program can be quite different, and everybody's circumstances are quite different. From my perspective, I think if you commit to the program and lean into the program and do what the program's asking you to do, you will notice a change. You will see a change. I don't think that if you commit the time and energy to the program, you will fail. There will be some change.
Completely agree. You can't not change
Yeah.
when you follow the process. It's impossible to. And actually, once you start to see results, you want to do even more, and there's no way you want to go back.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Okay, this one's from Nuala. I can manage a healthy diet all day, but then binge eat after dinner watching TV every night. I keep saying if I didn't have crisps, chocolates, and sweets in the house, I could stop this, but it now feels I have a behaviour problem. Was that anything similar to your journey?
Oh gosh, it sounds a lot like it sounds a lot like me.
I think it's
Um,
really great for you to answer these questions rather than me answering them, because you've literally been through this recently. So it's brilliant. Thank you
yeah.
for answering these.
Um, Gosh, and look, honestly, if I didn't have them in the house, I'd probably end up buying them and putting them in the house. Ah, When I reflect on that now,
Hmm.
I can see that I was doing everything in my day that everybody expected me to, but it wasn't feeding me. And so by the time, even if I had a really productive and successful day, by the time I got to the evening, I would be really tired. I'd be emotionally drained. I would have given all of myself to everybody who needed it. And so the nights were really quite challenging for me because it was either I was trying to reward myself because I hadn't kind of had any fun or I hadn't had any, wasn't giving back to myself during the day, or
Hmm.
I was eating because I was really super tired and I was trying to search for that little boost of energy to get me through the rest of the things, or I was eating because, maybe it'd been a disastrous day or the circumstances, it was really challenging. And so I was just trying to feed myself something that was positive and rewarding and felt good, even though I know that it was only, well, it's weird because you do it because your body and your brain is looking for something different, but you know that you're going to feel really sick. You know that you don't really want to be eating it. You know that you shouldn't be eating it, and then you just go through those guilt cycles, and then you just wake up. I would wake up in the morning and I would say to myself, "And I'm not going to do that again tonight." And so the first thing that I would be thinking about in my brain, first thing in the morning, was, I can't believe I broke that promise to myself again.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking about food straight away. And that was my waking thought. So totally, totally understand it. And I think the thing that's different for me now is I understand that. I
Yeah.
can actually look at or think about, actually, do I want that? Why do I want that? But actually, what I'm doing is actually feeding myself during the day
Oh,
with fun
completely
and
that. Yeah.
energy,
You're
and
not living for everybody else, actually.
exactly right. And, getting energy from my work and my relationships, and making sure that I, do little things, like just take some time out, have a lunch break, just do the things that actually feed me during the day. And then I don't kind of crave all of that food at night.
Yeah, and actually on that point, it seems such a simplistic thing to kind of have a lunch break, but we've got to kind of do the inner work to find out what's driving the behavior that's like, I've got to work hard, I've got to prove myself. And actually we've kind of got to work back, and you did a lot of, work around that in changing that narrative to then be, actually, do you know what? It's okay. I can do these things, which is
Yeah,
great.
and it's okay to shut off the laptop at 5 o'clock, even though there's a whole heap of work. I was probably one of those people who felt like I needed to get all of my work done, as like, as much as feasible, within the day. Try to tidy up all of those loose ends. Um, and so I wasn't prioritizing myself. I was just working to deliver to everybody else.
Mhm.
And so it's really freeing to actually be able to kind of go, actually, I have a life other than work. Work is a really important part of it. So, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy and love the work that I do. But I love me too. And so it's that harmony between loving all of the things in your life and just having some better boundaries, I think.
Yeah, and actually, you had some work changes as well, didn't you, when we were kind of working together?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So went from I had come out of permanent work and went into contracting work, in a really challenging kind of change environment. And then I picked up decided to have another change and took on another role. So, yeah, and all of that's been going on while I've been on the program. And so that's actually helped me because it's helped me to make the decisions that I've needed for myself. And I think that was one of the big things, Emily, wasn't it? Was I came to a realization that I was making a lot of decisions based on what I thought other people needed or what other people expected. And they were like decisions about me in my life.
Oh,
And so I
beautiful.
was really empowered by the program to actually just kind of go, actually, I need to start flipping that. I need to start making some decisions based on actually my needs and my desires. Yeah, and so that was awesome. I think your life is never. Well, I've probably never been had that kind of stable life where nothing's changing. So,
Mm.
you know, for me doing the program while there was these other things and these moving balls wasn't a problem for me at all.
Yeah, and you had some pretty big stuff going on as well,
Mm.
so some really challenging stuff. So that was great. One of the things I forgot to say, because it's my first live on YouTube, is that there are people watching. So I think I meant to say, post in the comments if you. I think that's what people say on these things. I do it on Facebook, but on YouTube. But yeah, anybody that's watching, please feel free to post in the comments and say what an amazing woman that is, because I think she's bloody brilliant. So the next question is from Jenny. I find that everyone else's needs come first. How can I make the change to invest in myself? A really good question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I I don't think I could have made the shift without the program. I'll be really honest. Because I didn't actually understand the stories that I was telling myself and the beliefs that I had um, about my value,
Mm.
and setting boundaries. And so I found the program really freeing in that respect. That actually it challenged those stories and those beliefs. It replaced them with positive stories and positive aspirations. And yeah, it just really asked me to pause and to think about what was important. And when I could start to see the connection between how I was treating myself compared to how I was treating others, that was quite a big shift for
Mm.
me. Um, I still love everybody that's in my life. Some of it I've had to put some different boundaries in. There's sometimes that I might just need to walk away from a conversation. Um, but I think what's changed is the relationship with myself. When I'm engaging with others now, I'm doing it from a place of genuineness around what I want to give to in that moment rather than feeling like I have to. So a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
hasn't changed, but it's the feeling that sits behind it is what's actually changed.
Yeah. And then, when we feel really good and we live in life in this really wonderful way that's right for us, we don't need food in the same way. It's like,
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, Emily, because when I was, I guess, I said the old me, um, I would end up getting, I'm human. I end up getting a bit bitter and resentful about how much I was just devoting to everybody else,
yeah.
and then that would trigger the food thing
Oh,
because then I needed to feed me. Yes, so it's it's been surprisingly easy. I just have to say it for me because once you actually start to unpack it and
yeah.
the tools and the way that the program is actually like staged, you just you just unpack it and it just changes. And then you just keep. And I think Emily, you said it before. Once you actually start feeling the positiveness and the shifts, you actually don't want them to change.
Absolutely not. It's like, no, let's keep on with this.
Yeah.
Good question from Crystal. How do you know this has changed for the long term?
I I never want to give this up. I think I may have said on one of the calls with Emily is like this feeling that I have now is like my my new addiction. This is I'm addicted to actually being me and having
I
freedom
love
and
that.
feeling empowered. And so I never want to give that up. And I think that's the thing that will always keep driving me. And I think the other thing is the things that I've learned on the program are they're life changing, but they're very, very sustainable. They're very easy to keep doing. They're very easy to like have that relationship, that conversation with yourself around what you're doing. So it's not hard, and because I'm not denying myself, I'm not
So
trying to, focus like on the discipline, or just, all of those bits and pieces. This is a change from within, and that's why it's sustainable.
great. So here's another from Reese. This one. I feel like I'm on a constant treadmill of dieting. Did you, Nat, feel like that? If so, what changed for you to think I need to stop the dieting?
Yes, I was. I wasn't always within a program, in terms of one of the weight loss
Slimming Club. So
programs. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think, kind of as I mentioned earlier, like I knew that there was something missing, um, because I would go, okay, no, Monday, okay, yeah, I'll start Monday, which means I just would feed myself totally over the weekend, like
oh yeah.
incredibly.
I used to do it. It's like let's go mad at the weekend. We'll get back on it on Monday.
We'll be all right on Monday. Um, if I was lucky, it would last probably about 3 days, 3 weeks. Usually it was probably only about 3 days. And there was a lot of that negative self-talk, because you're beating yourself up all the time, because it's you failed again and again. Um, and so I was really looking at, well, why I just can't keep going to a diet club and keep tracking my points and
Oh, I
thinking
remember
at everything that I eat.
Mm.
Yeah, but and yeah, and I think that's been one of the really freeing things now, is the fact that I know that I will never need to go on another diet,
Yeah.
because my relationship with food has totally changed.
Brilliant.
And actually, the way that I feel about my weight has changed as well, because I'm really comfortable with me. It doesn't actually, my self-worth and my value is not connected to what the scales say. Scales are still in the cupboard. And actually, I went up to the doctors yesterday just for my sort of annual checkup, and she said, okay, just pop on the scales. And normally that would have probably sent a shiver of fear
Oh,
through me, but it was easy. I just got on the scales, and it was not a problem at all. So it's totally changed. So I'm, yeah, really pleased that I don't ever have to go on a diet ever again.
yay. No more dieting. Yep, that's my motto. No more dieting. The next one is from Maxine. There's just a couple more after that.
Yep.
And this one I think is really pertinent because it's about eating in secret. I eat in secret. Is this normal? And there's a lot of shame that comes with overeating, binge eating that we feel. And actually, is eating in secret is something that I certainly did. Is that something that you did? And it is
Yeah.
normal to do with overeating. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the one downside of having kind of a pantry that you can walk into, that nobody can see what happens when you go inside. Yeah, I used to eat, and I can remember doing that as a child as well. Um,
Mm.
so I was always honest with myself around what I was eating, like, because you're there, you know what you're eating, you know how you feel. Um, but I wouldn't be honest around that around others.
Yeah,
Um,
because it feels wrong because there's just, it's like, I don't know about you, but mine was like, I just got desperately get this in. Even as a child, I was like just shoving it in as quickly as I could because I didn't want to get caught and be shamed.
yeah, and it's the guilt and it's the
Mm.
shame and it's the judgment that, you
Yeah,
think, even though it's not voiced, you think that, I mean, you're judging yourself.
absolutely.
And so you just think that everybody else is judging you as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a way out, as we know.
There is a way out.
So the next one, I've heard there's a group call involved,
Mhm.
which scares me. How did you feel when doing it, from Sarah?
Um, The group calls are amazing. They are a community of beautiful women who are on, a journey to change, whether it's a lifetime of behavior or a year of behavior. It doesn't matter. They're just gorgeous women with gorgeous hearts, and they're super supportive. And I think, Emily, the way that you do the group calls means that people get a lot out of them. So you learn through other people's experiences. Um, and even if you don't really feel that comfortable, you don't actually have to say that much. You can just check in. You can talk about some of the things that you may have seen change during the week, and then you can like listen to everybody else. So they were actually a highlight for me. I was a bit daunted going into them as well.
Yeah, it's sort of a new thing, isn't it? But it's
It's a
not
new
like
thing.
the slimming clubs where all they talk about is food and what you weigh. It's none of that.
No, and it's all about wins, and it's very positive. And when I was coming towards the end of the program, the one thing I said to Emily was, "Man, I'm going to miss those group calls." And so, yeah, they're an awesome part of the program.
Yeah, and it's not a big group either, is it? It's
No.
nice. It's a nice, really supportive group, seeing different people at different stages as well. Great. And then the last question is from Steph. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but something holds me back. Any advice you can give me?
I want to ask yourself what's holding you back. I look, it's probably been the best money I've ever spent on myself. And when I was thinking about the program, I was thinking about, I would quite easily go and spend money on my professional development and do some certification or do postgrad or do something. Um, but I'd never actually really sat down and thought about how do I invest in my personal development. Um, and so that was the thing for me was it's exactly the same. I'm going to get the rewards. I'm going to learn skills. I'm going to, be, a more amazing person. So why wouldn't you invest in yourself? And I think, and it's so nice to invest in a way that you know that it's sustainable,
Yeah.
rather than all the money that I've invested in the various health retreats and slimming clubs and all of those sorts of things. This is actually money well spent.
Yeah, and actually, so Steph, when you come and decide to join the program, any advice you would give her when she starts?
Um, just run with it. Trust the process. Trust the program. And really just look at all the resources. Do the group calls, and just really commit to doing it. You'll really absolutely get the benefits out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you have 100% committed that,
Yeah.
and that's why you just flew through the whole program, and it was just change after change after change. Every week I could see these changes coming in. I used to love your emails. I'm like, yes, this is just brilliant. It's been such a delight working with you and just seeing you go from strength to strength. It really has.
Oh, it's been awesome. 12 weeks. You wouldn't believe that you could make such a change in 12 weeks, and a sustainable change. So, yeah. Um, and when you've got the tools and you've got the program, it's actually not hard either, because you're supported at every step of the journey. So, um, yeah. I know, Emily, I've shared this with you, but I thank you so much for giving me my life back,
Oh, no.
which is
I
just so
know.
awesome.
I always get emotional when you say
Sorry.
that.
But it's true. I'm totally different and I'm loving life. Yeah, I still have challenges, absolutely, but um, yeah, it's just life's awesome.
I just love it. It's yeah, and I think there is a thing for people about kind of thinking that we've got to spend years of working on ourselves to get change, and actually that's just so untrue. We can have change really quickly, and you are the perfect
Yeah.
example of that. And you said, and I don't think you'll mind me saying this, but you feel like you're in your 20s again. What's not to love
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the energy that I have and, the curiosity and the excitement that I have. Um, yeah, I mean, my friends would be super surprised if they knew that I was doing a live stream, because they always kind of go, "Oh, you're a bit of an introvert. You don't really like putting yourself out there," um, and they've seen that kind of probably over the last 10 years.
Mm,
Um, but what I see when I wake up in the morning now and feel is that person that I was in my 20s that they've never known. And so for
right.
them, this is a really big shift. Whereas for me, it's just, yeah, this is like my
Reclaiming.
true, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like my true self. And I think the other thing that's been the really big shift for me is I feel calm and grounded. And so I don't feel so pushed and pulled by all the external triggers in my environment. So, and that helps me just to regain those feelings of when you're 20. When you're 20, you're invincible. Like you've got your whole life ahead of you. And so that's the excitement and the energy that I bring to my life now.
Oh, that's such a wonderful way to end it, actually. Unless you've got anything else to add.
Uh, I think the only thing that I would add is that if you've been thinking about doing the program, um, you know, take that next step. And look, this is not a paid advertisement either. Can I just say
Yeah, I just like to point out, I'm not paying. I don't pay any of the clients for any of these calls.
that? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's changed my life. And so even if it just changes your life a little bit, I think, we all owe it to ourselves to do what we need just so that we feel more settled as to who we are, which means that we can give more to those around us in a way um, that doesn't cause us stress or pain, but actually feeds us.
Yeah, great. Oh, what a brilliant way to end, Nat. Thank you so much for getting up early.
It's all right. It's not too bad.
Being a brilliant client, for having all these amazing changes and for sharing your time with us. Really, really appreciated it. I hope everybody watching or listening, is it watching, listening, watching and listening, yeah, has enjoyed Nat's story. It's been an absolute delight, Nat, and I know, well, we'll hear some more exciting updates from you in the future. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.